the roll to establish quorum, please.
Spoder. Here. Mr. Kelly, absent. Mr. Coe,
Present.
Mr. Matt,
Present.
Ms. Palastrellini. Here. Mr. Robinson.
Here. Everyone's here in accounting for except for Mr. Kelly, who seems to be having fun at work. So anyhow, let's rise for the pledge if you can.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, Mr. Hedges.
Hello.
Is there anybody signed up to speak this evening?
Yes, there is. This Kim Proof.
Hi,
Hi, welcome.
I received a notice about, I think it's it's your ordinance approving the variance for the outlot on, number 7. And I live on Kelly Road and I did go to the public hearing and I received a certified letter. And maybe more things will be explained later on, but what I don't understand and can't wrap my head around is why we're having a variance for a gravel parking lot. Has anyone been down Kelly Road to see the gravel parking lot? Anybody?
Every day.
Okay, good. So when I was at the public hearing, no one could tell me, well, that the fact that it already exists kind of is interesting that it's existing prior to a variance being allowed. The other thing that I found is that no one could tell me the parking lot size or how many cars would fit into it. And I find it kind of disrespectful to the village and planning and zoning that protocol for a variance is requested after the lot has already been there. Usually it's unusual to do it that way, I think. So the fact that as I understand them right now through the public hearing and Hampshire Park District was that they wanted to do fall and spring soccer on the 29th acre park. But when I asked Crown and when I asked the Hampshire Park District, no one has a plan. There's no plan for the land. So we have a parking lot without any plan. And it was told that it was only a temporary gravel parking lot, and it's assumed that the ordinance requirements would be met in 3 years by a sunset rule, but nothing was discussed of what happens if it isn't completed at that time. So the village board in 2005 annexed in Crown's property. And 19 years later, and after 5 different amendments with the village from Crown, the park district still doesn't have a plan. It's kind of concerning. So planning and zoning said that the gravel parking lot doesn't meet requirements and codes for the citizens with disabilities. But yet I think other problems loom ahead that are even more troubling. That's how it's grossly undersized. Unless limits are placed on the number of soccer fields and the game times are substantially staggered for the parking lot to work. So I did a little work on it. Soccer fields, we did a small one. Those are 2.3 acres, but let's do a big one. So big one's 2.6 acres. So that would allow 11 soccer fields, 22 players per field, 242 parking spots, without adding officials, coaches, extra players, spectators. If we did baseball fields with a 90-foot base layout, 4.5 acres. So we would have 6 ball fields, 18 players, 108 parking spots. Again, not filling in for extra players, coaches, spectators. So without planning, I'm wondering where all of these people are going to safely park because that lot's really small. And so they're most likely going to choose to park along Kelly Road. And Kelly Road is,
Well, I mean,
nature. Nature says anyone with a $50,000 plus car isn't going to want to park in mud. So they're going to be along Kelly Road, which is both township and village. And it's narrow, and it's a 50-mile-an-hour parking speed limit, 34 kV power lines. Unfortunately, in the past, the Hampshire fire truck fell off this narrow road on a bright sunny Sunday, hit the high voltage utility pole. We had one firefighter airlifted to a hospital and seriously injured. So this park is going to be filled with children. So we need a plan for public safety. It's very there. No parking here. Signs should be placed along Kelly Road to, and have them enforced. But without a master plan, many important things are gonna get missed. You know, are they gonna put porta potties out there? Are they gonna have garbage? Who's picking up the garbage? You know, a million things that you guys know about that I haven't even thought of. So today, it seems that everyone's kind of flying by the seat of their pants at this park. And mistakes were made during the grading of the park on August 14th of 23, when the Kelly Road ditch was filled in and eliminated. The ditch had been engineered by the Kane County Environmental and Water Resources Department to reduce flooding for the homes along Kelly and Marnie and others upstream. And Kane County, the village engineers and the village manager had to correct the error by regrading the land and redigging out the ditch after they had placed dirt in it. So right then, Crown's plan didn't work right. They've also, Crown has also added the dog park, and it's planned the Hampshire Park District is going to eventually maintain it. But it's a planned in an area that it's kind of weird. I would think you would put the dog park near the row houses because those people don't have lawns and yards. And if they have pets, dog park would be really great for them. So, I mean, this planning just isn't diving for them. A member of the zoning board said, it seems to me they're putting the cart before the horse. So you put in the soccer fields, they're gonna come, 242 parking spots, 11 soccer fields. Limits need to be placed. The village needs to be mindful of public safety, protecting the statutes for citizens with disabilities. And it's not just about a parking lot, it's about a plan. And if you allow the first thing to happen, it's all gonna keep snowballing with more problems and mistakes. So I'm voting here, I wish you would consider a master plan first, so you do it right. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else have, Mr. Hedges? That's all. All right, awesome. All right. Okay. Now we have the. Sorry. Did you sign up to speak?
I don't,
He
we just walked in.
Okay. If you have you sign in to speak and then.
Over here, sir.
Would you sign? We'll sign. We don't normally get many visitors, so if they come to visit, we might
We
let
let
them
them.
speak, right?
You're right. This is next one. You're next. Yeah.
All right, good evening. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Gilbert Sanchez.
How you doing?
Mr.
How you doing,
Sanchez.
everybody? My name is Gilbert Sanchez. I'm a new resident here in Hampshire. I like the town. I like old towns like this. But I have questions about the water bill. And I have two of my neighbors here with me today, with these real super high $400, $300, $350, $100 water bills. I've lived here all my life, except for the last 12 years. I lived in Texas, but I've never ever seen a water bill that high. I like to see some justification of why it's so high.
Have you
I've
visited?
never,
Have you
never in
visited
my
our,
life, sir.
have you visited our website and looked at our utility master plans
I
or capital development plan or any of that?
understand. I get the $50 fee that you for pipes, this and this and that. It's still, to me, just not justify the water bill being that high. And my niece has swimming pools. She fills it up, and not even her water bill is that high.
Have you reported issues with your water bill to the village
No,
staff?
sir. No, sir. No, sir. I'm a concerned citizen. It's not that I'm concerned. It's just, for me, that's too high. To me, the way I see it, I don't know where you guys get the money, where you know, to get the money from. But it's coming off of my back right now, and a lot of my neighbors, and they all feel it. We talked to quite a few of them, and they're all saying the same thing: 300, 350, 400 and up. And we want to see justification
I understand.
of how that's being taken care
I
of.
think to be completely honest with you, like, we've mulled over this as a board now for the last, how many months? Almost a year now or longer, trying to figure out how we're gonna pay for infrastructure and that kind of thing. As well as, you know, when's the right time? It's not the right time. We're all paying it. I mean,
I
you
get it,
and I are in the
I
same
get
boat,
it,
my
but
friend.
It's like it's procrastinating. I mean, again, I'm a new citizen, I'm a new resident here, but I've lived in Illinois all my life, born and raised, and I've never seen water bills that high. My electric bill is not even close to being that amount, and I have my AC running 24/7.
there's a lot of people that's struggling, there's no doubt. And, it's, we knew what we were getting into with it as far as we tried to do everything that we possibly could to publicize why we had to raise the rates. We did everything we possibly could to publish all the studies and all the information out there. We spent money on a PR campaign to try to educate the residents and a social media campaign and in our newsletters and all that kind of stuff. So I guess my point being is that we tried our best to
So there's no
use your.
resolving the problem.
Well, that's the whole reason why we had to do it, is because we had problems.
Mr. President, I don't think that's what he's talking about.
This is like my boss,
Okay.
the other
Help me
day.
out here.
He's not talking about the $50 fee. He's just talking about the water bills in general. So the first thing they need to do would be to check toilets and stuff like that.
It's actual meter reading, so from what I was told.
Everything's run through that meter. So if there's a gallon of water going through your pipes, it's going through that meter that they electronically read. So if your bill has gone up more than the $50 fee that all of us pay, and it's $300-400, we had an incident downtown where the guy was having the same thing, $300-400. I think our village manager went over and looked at it. He found 2 toilets that were leaking. Very little, but they were leaking 24/7. The flap inside. So if you're getting $300-400 water bills, it ain't the $50 fee that all of us pay.
I get that. Sir.
There's a leak somewhere.
There's no leaks. These are all brand new homes, sir. These are brand new homes. I live right here in the corner.
Our
Brand
bill
new home.
doubled from, the previous month.
These are all new homes, and that's including, and these are residents that include on the other side over by Harmony. They pay high water bills too, and some of those people own their home.
I would call the water department, have somebody come check it out.
I mean,
Honestly, it's true.
it's not a leak problem.
Well,
sir.
you'd be surprised. And the only reason I say that is because we get calls like this all the time, and you'll find that our staff really tries hard to work with the residents as far as that stuff goes. But if your bill doubles from 1 month to the next because of or one billing cycle to the next, either habits have changed or something is wrong.
There's no habits.
Well, but that's my point. Is so, I mean, everybody's bill went up some, right? I mean, we know it. I mean, we're all feeling it.
Okay, I'll give you an example. My first bill here was $80, no problem. My first full bill was $250.
Mhm.
So I came in here and a week before I came to pay it, I came here to pay it, to ask the question if it was an actual meeting reading, and she said, yes, it was. So, okay, then she told me, well, I got the $30 fee that you have on there. She told me, well, I got more bad news, that it's gonna be $50. I said, okay, fine. Now that we've been there, established now, almost 7 months, I think, something like that. And it stayed steady at 300, and my neighbors, 350, 400.
I don't,
I mean.
I can't wrap my brain around a $400. I can't wrap my brain around a.
And then, not to top it off, the community there has the water line to water the grass on the end units. And then they have to suck it up. And then they gave them a so-called
Yeah.
$50 gift card.
Our water.
Can I speak to that?
Yep.
That is an issue between the owner of the property and the tenants. It's not something we can get involved in.
I
Although
understand that, and I understand that.
we did call them and they told us about this $50 gift certificate and we pretty much laughed them out of the work
Yeah,
on that.
because
We
I
told
mean,
them that
well,
they owe you anything that they're supposed to be measuring that water and then reimbursing anybody that they use their. First of all, it's a really bad idea. We didn't know it was happening, but once we heard about it, we called D.R. Horton, who owns that property. They built
I
it.
brought it up to when I first came to pay that first big bill. I brought it up to her that's what they were doing. And that's when I found
Our
out.
finance
my
director
neighbor
is not available
is giving
tonight.
them a
She's the one
$50.
who's working with D.R. Horton, so I'll be happy. If I have your information, I'll be happy to talk to you about this tomorrow, and we'll look into your specific situation and your neighbors as well.
Yeah, but as far as leak problems, that's not the problem.
Well,
You're
I
talking.
guess what I would ask.
Let me give you an example real fast. You got 73 units over here, and if everybody's averaging $300 to $400 a pop, that's $45,000 every 2 months that you guys get from us. That's every 2 months. That's $45,000. Where does it go? And if I'm talking month, it's just for every 2 months, for 2 months.
I think,
I mean, I'm not trying to come down on you guys.
No, well,
But you gotta find out somewhere to get the money from somewhere else besides my bank. I gotta work hard.
I think that's what Jay said. Jay said he would talk to you about it tomorrow.
Okay.
Well,
Okay,
yeah, the
so I
water,
just
get the
wanted
water
to-
department involved. Every gallon goes through that meter. So if you're getting a $400 bill, they can pull the gallons month to month and they
Yeah,
can,
but who sets the prices for all those gallons like that?
Well,
it's been set here for a long time.
That's kind of high, no?
went up pennies.
I know, the actual water
I'm
rate,
not trying to.
It went up
I'm not trying to. be
I know
ignorant or
two
anything.
No, but we're trying to-
Stupid.
no, we're trying to help you through this.
Fire
I mean,
hydrant.
I'm being completely honest, we're trying to
And
help you through this.
supposedly they
We're all
fixed
feeling
it. Well, when we walked.
We all have to pay the
dogs,
same bills you
there's
do,
nothing
and I've
but
got a
big
7-year-old kid that
puddles
doesn't know how to
still
turn
in
off the
there.
faucet, so I get it.
Jim.
Okay, but some of you guys make a lot more money than some of us average Joes.
Well, I don't know, I don't think that that's entirely accurate. I think we're all pretty average Joes here. I don't think that
That's
it's,
cool.
I don't-
That's why I like the topic. It's like small towns, everybody knows everybody, or at least I try to get to know everybody.
I don't know if you've ever called a utility company and said, you know what, hey, I think you should raise your rates, but that's what this board did. We all raised rates on ourselves.
And I get it.
And so what I would ask is I'm not disputing that there's some people that may have an issue. What I would like is for the people that have an issue to follow the protocol of working with Village Hall staff, figure out if there's an issue with a leaky toilet or something like that. Because like I said, you'd be surprised, even in a brand new home. I mean, I was in construction before this, you know, and so, and there was always punch lists and there was always things that needed to be replaced or toilets that weren't adjusted right or
I know
faucets that weren't
that.
right.
I've done construction.
So what I guess what I would ask is, just communicate with your neighbors. If they feel that there's an issue with their water bill, because they think it is exorbitantly high,
Yeah,
get staff involved and let's
Okay.
try to work through it.
okay.
Because I'm telling you, and I think every single one of us at this table is having a hard time wrapping our head around the fact that it was $200 one month and $400 the next. Because not month, but the billing cycle. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, because it went up. We all know it went up. We're not disputing that it went up
Yeah.
or the reasons why. But you shouldn't be impacting the residents like that. So if there are issues, I encourage you to work with staff and let's get involved and let's figure it out.
That's what I want to do. I want to be involved.
We're not telling you, I'm being completely transparent. We're not telling you
Me
that
too.
you're not feeling it. But the one thing I will say is I don't think you're dealing with a bunch of elitists up here that don't understand what it's like. to
No,
pay
I
higher
didn't,
water
I
rates.
didn't say that. I didn't say that.
So
All
To
right.
give you an example,
Yeah, sure.
I live about a mile from here. And several months back, I opened my water bill and it was over $300. And there's only two of us in the house. And I looked at the meter reading and it said I used 30,000 gallons of water. And I went, this is crazy. How could we use 30,000 gallons of water? It turns out the toilets, two of my toilets, or maybe it was three, I did them all. But I replaced the seals on them and the next bill that came through was 9,000 gallons usage for the same period. So I almost fell over when I got that bill. And I said, how did two people use 30,000 gallons of water?
Yeah.
So that's something that you'd have to look at, but it gives you an instance of, hey, I've been there.
All right. Okay. That's fine. I appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
coming, sir.
Sanchez.
Well,
Sure, we just take this. Give
All
me a
right.
call, we'll sit down.
I don't think we have anyone else signed up to speak.
No, sir.
All right, thank you. Next, we have two sets of meeting minutes to approve here, July 18th and, no, wait, I'm on the wrong one here, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong thing, I was looking for prior information. September 5th, we have a meeting minute to approve here.
I just have one question, just because we don't usually do consent agendas and I'm not as familiar with consent agendas myself.
We all, just to step in, we also made a promise that we weren't gonna do that.
Yeah. And then I just wasn't sure even when we were voting on it.
Mr. Henry.
So it's E on page 5. They're the exact same things. Move to approve a motion to approve the consent agenda and then trustee Kelly moved to approve the consent agenda. I think E has to be motion to establish the consent agenda.
I don't
That
even think,
puts
I don't
up
think we
in-
did that. I
We
think that-
did do 2 votes.
No, I think we just did the
The
one.
one?
I think we just did the one. I think we voted to approve the consent agenda.
Was it
So-
just then why do we have to have,
No, I don't think we have to. That's what I'm saying. I think that there's a mistake. I don't know what the mistake is, but I think that there's a mistake. Because we didn't establish the consent agenda. We just saw the consent agenda and we voted to approve the consent agenda.
it is one, yeah.
And so I don't think that there was not 2 votes. So with that, because I don't think we're going to have the answers, so respectfully, can I entertain a motion to table the minutes until next meeting so we can dig into that?
So moved.
Okay, I apologize.
Okay, that was my only question.
Questions, comments, concerns? All in favor?
I,
Aye, opposed? All right, so can we just dig into why there were 2 votes or 2 votes called for that? Lionel?
it's 1 vote, but it's
Yeah.
2 big sections and then 2 motions.
Yeah, let's figure out what happened there.
Okay.
And then we'll
Thank
bring
you.
it back to next week. Okay, next on our agenda, as you know, Mr. Deutsch has been on our police commission for, yeah, it's been more than 1 term, hasn't it? But I think he said,
This was the second.
this was his 2nd term. And he's done a really good job for the police commission, and Maureen McGreevy is here, who you guys all know, who's our chairwoman of the police commission. And as you also know, I kind of run this like a football team, and the chairman of the committee get to pick their team, because I find that the commissions are much more effective when the chairman gets to pick their people. And so she overwhelmingly expressed a desire to reappoint Mr. Deutsch, and I don't really feel the need to question her on it, because he's done a really good job. I'm just being transparent. So does anyone have any questions for myself or Ms. McGreevy about Mr. Deutsch? I'll entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Mr. Ron Deutsch to the police commission for 3 more years.
So
Can we require he has to bring cookies to the meetings?
Yeah, our meetings, not their meetings.
He's not here today, right?
No, he's not.
Okay, yeah. I'd like to amend. Just kidding.
Seconded, please.
You seconded it. Yes, I lied. That's sorry.
Thank you.
All in favor?
I,
Opposed? All right, thank you. Mr. Hedges, now it's your turn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We would now ask for consideration of an ordinance approving a variance for Outlot 23 on Kelly Road. You have before you an agenda supplement from Mr. Khan and a summary of the Planning and Zoning Commission information. I'm going to ask Mr. Khan to summarize that briefly, and then be happy to answer any questions.
So Ground Development, who is a petitioner and owner of the properties, requesting the variance to allow for a gravel parking lot instead of a paved parking lot. They're doing this in order for the park district to use it for ball fields. They plan to transfer ownership of Outlot 23 to the park district in the near future. Planning and Zoning Commission did hold a public hearing on this matter last month. There was a typo on the staff agenda supplement. The vote was 4-1 to recommend denial for the request. As stated by Ms. Crew earlier, there was a couple of reasons or a few reasons why the Planning and Zoning Commission did not vote to recommend approval. One was ADA compliance. They were concerned about if gravel parking lot would comply with ADA regulations, the general need for a parking lot, and then also not having a sufficient plan for the size of the parking lot, the number of parking stalls, or what the future plans for the park would be. And those were the general reasons why the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended denial. Staff did recommend approval of the request. Staff did find the findings of facts being met for the various requests. So I can answer any questions, go further in detail, if the board has any questions.
I'd also like to recognize Mr. Dan Olson and Laura Schraw. Dan Olson's from Crown. He's in the audience in attendance. I'm sure he's willing to answer any questions, as is Director Schraw from the Hampshire Township Park District.
I'm surprised I don't go down that way as much. I'm surprised that the parking lot's already there. And so I'd like to know, I mean, we just did a variance for someone for a mistake that was made about 2 meetings ago, 1 meeting ago. That was just, we had to grant the variance because we had to, because it was our mistake.
As opposed to, if I could just address that
Yeah.
real quick. Basically, what you have is aggregate now. So if they have to pave it, then they'll pave right over the aggregate. It's not like it's been gravelled, in any different way.
So what
that
is,
correct?
what is the variance? And then, I mean, if the
So
parking lot's already
if the
there,
variance is not approved, then they'll have to pave it, and they can pave right now. They haven't done any work that would have to be undone. They've just, it's only halfway finished is the point. So if the variance is not approved, then they'll have to pave it.
if it's temporary, I mean, what was it put there to begin with? I mean, why was it put there to begin with? If
So-
there was nothing going on.
So I think that, so to add some clarity to this, there was always plans for it to be a parking lot. The
Okay.
question as to whether or not it needs to be paved in the traditional sense, or they can leave it in gravel. So the variance, because we don't allow gravel parking lots within the village, they are asking for a variance to allow the gravel. So temporary, the temporary portion of that, temporary is time.
I get all that, but why is it there now then? If there's no park there right now.
Because it's not finished.
if
And they
there's a
used,
park
they
there-
used it for a station area. If you look on your drawing, there's a big flat top path that goes along it all.
Okay,
And the reason for the size of the lot currently, this board approved how many houses, new houses? 1,900, 2,200 new houses this board approved to be built.
mm-hmm,
Okay, there's no sense in building a small gravel parking lot and paving it and then having to tear it out next year as these houses get built and sold. The park district is out of land. All the kids that are coming with these new homes, there's no place to put them.
I get all
There's no,
that.
there's no
I
place
get
to
that.
put.
It's just
So-
that it's there.
So I guess her point
That's
is,
my-
It's a temporary
no,
thing.
her point is how is it even built yet?
Why is it
I can
there?
explain that.
And that's what she's asking.
Yeah, it's on me.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, and I'm a little embarrassed. I wasn't aware that it was required to be paid. I thought gravel parking lots were acceptable. We did have the engineers look at it, making sure that it met stormwater requirements and all that stuff. But I wasn't aware that that was part of the ordinance, and we built it once we had the engineering approval. And that's why we're here now. It should not have been constructed until it was approved.
But if you had the engineering approval, et cetera, then you had to have figured out what the size was gonna be then.
Yeah.
If there was no plan as to what it was gonna be used for, how did you know what the size would
It's
be?
temporary, right? You know,
Okay.
so the idea, so part of our annexation agreement requires us to grade and seed the park. We've done that, obviously, and then deed the park over to the park district, Hampshire Park District. And, but also to contribute $65,000 worth of improvements to that park above and beyond grading and seed. And so we work very closely with the executive director on what the needs were.
Mhm.
And, you know, the needs are more space. But they also realizing that they don't have a master plan for that park yet, right? So it's a temporary situation where they can use the parks for practices, not for tournaments, but for practices in the interim. And that location may or may not change when they do the master plan. So we're looking for a temporary parking facility to make sure there is no parking on Kelly Road. There's no ability to park on Kelly Road. So we did it as a temporary structure, as a gravel parking lot and not a paved parking lot, because as what Scott said, I mean, it would probably have to get torn out when the master plan is put in place and they put in a permanent parking services.
Are kids using that park right now?
No.
Okay, then the parking lot was for what cars?
The parking lot was working with the executive director when they take ownership of it in preparation for that park to be used as practice fields, right? So that they can park on that temporarily until the master plan is constructed, is created and then constructed.
So we, for the time being, we just put a parking lot there with no necessarily need for cars at that point, but we put the parking lot in.
No, once we deed it, hopefully, once we get hopefully if we get this variance through. Once we deed it, we'll deed it to the park district, and their intention is to use a temporary parking space for parking for practicing fall sports. And as far as the use goes, the executive director here, she can talk more about the kind of use and when it be used, but the intent is to use it this year.
Okay. I mean, and I'm apologizing to the board members for me just bulleting questions here, but if and remind me of the timetable for this. I mean, the land has been there for a while. You've been already working and developing things over there. Has the parks known that they're going to have this piece of property, but they haven't done a master plan?
It's in the annexation agreement that we are to deed it over. And, you know, I would say we graded it, seeded it, it takes a few years to get that to take. And
Okay.
it's now at a point where it can be used for field, so it
Okay.
wasn't usable until now.
Okay,
But as far, I can't speak for Laura,
No.
but, as to, when the master plan, will be done, but I know typical master plans are done until the use is determined and the need is determined. As far as how many they anticipate using there and all that stuff. So right now it is for temporary use for practices. Because that is the need right now, but the need in the future may change.
The need will change as houses are built and more kids are coming.
Yeah.
Would Crown be interested in putting in 1 or 2 parking spots of blacktop to make it ADA
Yeah,
compliant, preferably back by the bike path, so there's a blacktop?
yeah, it came up. We did research the ADA requirements. Gravel lots are actually allowed in with the ADA, provided that it is marked, I'm quoting here, is marked on firm, stable, and slip resistant surfaces, and it specifically says for gravel lots. So that is allowable to have that, and we can certainly, mark it and make sure it's meets all that criteria for ADA.
Respectfully, both the federal government and state government disagree with that and say it must be a solid surface parking surface for it to be ADA required, to meet those ADA requirements.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, if somebody slips, somebody trips, gravel, is not steady.
Sure.
Anybody could be injured. And it doesn't, it could be the 5-year-old who's playing soccer. It could be their parent, their grandparent, their neighbor. It could be anybody.
Yeah.
And I'm really concerned about this. I don't know if you've been to the Park at Tuscany, there's a lot of ruts in that gravel area because the kids like to go back there and, spin their wheels and tear up the parking lot. And then I trip. And I'm a fully able-bodied human being and I'm tripping. And respectfully, that is not ADA compliant.
It is in the Illinois Accessibility Code.
That is.
That's for recreational facilities.
As is mulch in the playgrounds.
Okay, but Felicia Burton at the state of Illinois ADA office says it's not. Because I called and asked. Because I wanted to know.
Yeah, I'm just looking
I'm-
at the section 10 of the ADA.
The whole thing with this is, I work for the park district. The park district's out of ground. And as these houses are built and, that parking lot's gonna be increased 20 times in the next 10 years. And if you blacktop it now, you're gonna wind up ripping out half the blacktop to increase the size of the blacktop. So if Crown can get it as is, wait for 3 years, revisit it, put a 3-year sunset clause or something on it, revisit it to see how many more homes are built. Because every home or most every home now has got kids. There's no place to put them.
Well, and soccer and that kind of stuff is a challenge as it is currently, because there's only one place that can take place in this community. And that's a revenue generator, I do believe, for the park district.
And for the village,
Yeah, right.
people are stopping to get meals and gas and Casey's.
What if it's not accessible to everybody?
So I guess that's the question is, would Crown be willing to go down this path with us and at least pave a few of the spots right up to Trustee Coates' position?
Certainly.
So this way, at least that there's somewhere so that it's 100% ADA
2
accessible.
spots. How many spots is that parking lot?
38 spots.
Okay.
It's supposed to be 10%.
What's that?
10%.
So that's 2 or 3, 4 spots.
That's 4. What 3.8 are?
Is that something that you'd be willing to
Sure.
consider
Sure.
just for the ADA requirements? Because I completely understand where everybody's coming from. And I understand that, I appreciate that you're taking responsibility for putting the lot in place before variance. But it seems that we're getting hung up on the ADA. So as long as Crown's, no, I don't mean it in that. I'm saying that that's the main sticking point of this conversation.
Because that is the crux of the situation.
And I agree with you. And I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we're not disputing the lot. We're not
Right.
disputing the placement. We're not,
No,
that's the concern of the board that I'm hearing. So,
yes.
sorry.
No, I'm
Words
just
are
saying,
hard.
I understand that. I'm just saying, but it is the issue. And I think that it's a very important issue,
I don't-
accessibility.
Don't disagree.
Parks belong to all of us, and if some of us can't access it, then what's that? That's, how are you gonna invite the public into your public space and not make it accessible to everybody?
Right. I understand.
And how's the insurance, and who's paying for that when somebody doesn't get hurt?
Sure, and it was, like I said, it was from the Illinois Accessibility Codes, Chapter 10, Recreation Facilities, what I was quoting, but certainly we can pay those two slots. Also, we do have in the dog park has a path connection, a paved path connection to it with, and it is a paved parking lot. It does have,
But it has
a
to be
paved, handicap spot there too.
But it has to be within a certain number of feet of the thing that you're trying to reach for those spaces to count for it.
Yeah.
The soccer
Although
field, it's gotta be on the
I
soccer
looked-
field
I
side.
looked at that, I could not find it anywhere in
Chapter
section
5.
chapter 10.
It's in 5 on parking lots,
I was looking at 10, which is
which is
the,
on recreation, but,
which is a recreation.
yeah, but
That's-
chapter 5 for parking lot.
Okay, I think that's a difference whether this is a recreation parking lot or a standard parking lot.
Well, be that as it may, we've
Yeah,
already,
sure.
we've come to an agreement, not where it is in the code. We've come to an understanding that you're gonna pave the, whatever what is it, 10%, 4 spots?
Two spots.
10%,
said it was 38,
Okay,
so that'd be 4.
it's 3.8.
How can you fit there? I've been over that lot 200 times. I got $100 says there ain't no way you fit 38 cars in that lot,
there's,
unless they drive up on each other.
yeah, it's
Change
it's
the-
180 by 60 feet, so 189 foot spaces. That would be 40 spaces. Obviously, 2 of those would be accessibility spaces, so that would only be 2, so 38. That's what it was. So, so
So we're gonna look into it and get the right number of spaces, and then we're gonna comply with
sure.
that's what I'm concerned about. That's what I'm hearing the board is concerned.
I'd also like to know what the plan is. I mean, from the park district, what is the plan to actually know? Because I understand that the problem, I mean, you don't want to have to rip a parking lot. I get that. It's a huge expense after paving something to rip it up. But if there's no plan in place right now, we're just gonna
So
throw cars someplace and make it a field for people to
That's
play.
maybe a question to ask around. What's the master plan? When do you think you're gonna be done with houses? Or how many houses do you think you're gonna sell to families without kids? Because that's the key to that whole thing.
Well,
But I think you're gonna have people from all over the community that are using those. not just the ones-
respectfully, it would be the park district, I don't think is prepared to do a master plan on a piece of property that they don't own yet. And so, I mean, and I know that because we went through this when it was Ruth Park and then we deeded it to them. And it took the park district a little while to kind of come up with a plan, but they came up with a plan after we deeded in the park. They can't, how are they supposed to go to their board and say, hey, we want to do a master plan on a piece of property we don't own?
Then how can we give them a parking lot to use? if
Because
it's not their land?
respectfully, I don't need laughter. Respectfully, what I'm getting at is they've developed a need, they know they're getting this. And they say that they're gonna get this piece of property and use it for this purpose, which is practice fields and that kind of thing. Until such time as they can develop a master plan after they own said property. And then the needs of the park or the usage of the park may change based on other factors like Crown's number of homes and the community usage and that kind of stuff. It's no different than, in my mind, what we're doing with the Village Hall site and the fact that we have plans on the book for a Village Hall site, but we haven't followed that one bit. We've had nothing but, we've had Coon Creek and parking and all kinds of different things over the years, movies and all that kind of stuff. We haven't committed to any of
Can I
it.
just clarify one thing? In case there's any confusion, the dog park is an amenity for Prairie Ridge North. It is not a park district park. Now, Crown and the Park District want to make some sort of arrangement that's between them. But that's an entirely separate thing. It's in the master plan for Prairie Ridge North, as is the park. So the dog park is totally separate and it was built properly and it will become an HOA park. Okay. And they'll have to maintain it unless there's some other arrangement made.
Ms. Shaw.
So I wanted to talk about the parks. So I am actually a registered landscape architect in the state of Illinois. I've been designing parks and playgrounds and building parks for 25 years. I would say that to come up with a master plan right now would be way too early in the process because we don't know what the community is going to need. We know our need right now is to actually have full-size U14 field, because Green Park has 6 different teams out there, and we've never had our kids play actually on a full-size field because we can't fit it. So we need to have, right now we need open space, but with the homes that are coming in, we don't know what's gonna happen and what people are gonna need. It could be cricket, it could be baseball. There's so many options that we need to hear as our community grows, what recreation they want. 'Cause this is our only other flat, dry, non-flood zone piece of land that we have. We don't have anything not in the flood
But you
zone.
don't have it yet because it's not yours.
Right, I'm really hoping it will be ours.
Our intention is to deed it, once we figure out,
Laura, how many fields do you plan to build on that?
Right now, we would just probably most likely have U12 and U14 out there.
So one field?
There'd probably be 2 different size fields because the practices, but we still would have 4, 6, 8, and 10 at Green. So it's just to help expand. We have flag football. Our growth in our programs has been 50% in the last 10 years, 80% for flag football. So the space that we have is definitely been shrinking for the amount of kids that we have. As far as master planning, it's a process. It takes probably 6 months to get through it. Not only do I have to come up with the entire design, then we need to do public hearings, public meeting, have the public input, revise the design, take it to the board, see if they'll approve it. And then after that, we actually go and apply for a grant. Every park so far that I have redone in the last 11 years has been with grant money. So Green had one, Brackow had one, and now Seiler has one. So currently I'm finishing up that project, and that's part of the reason the time hasn't been devoted, because we need to finish the project that we're currently in before we start that next master plan. And we really don't want to get there until we know what's coming to us. Because as we've seen with development in the past, it can be really hot and heavy and then it can just stop. So we wanted to make sure that it was going to be coming to us before we invested that time.
If they hadn't put that, the gravel down then, what would you have done then at that point? I mean, because you want to use the land for practice fields, he would have had to put in a parking lot then to do it.
We probably would have allowed parking on the grass. We actually have had that happen before when we've had, like not enough parking space. Green was only paved 9 years ago, 8 years ago. And then when we would have extra events there, we would have to allow parking on the grass. So we would not want to do that. It's not our preference, and, there'd have to be the access across the culvert. But, as far as putting in and spending the money on the paving, it's difficult to do that and then potentially move it. There's a lot of opportunities at that site. I just don't think as a district, we're ready for that hard design. I think we're at the point where we need open space and flat open space, but not necessarily structures.
I don't know if 38 spots would even be big enough for 2 fields. I think she was mentioning all the different people and refs and everything else that would be in there, but they're going to be in there at the same time. That's the point of having 2 fields. So you don't have to wait for one to be done to use the other one.
A lot of our scheduling now, all of them are not going at the same time because our fields overlap. So we can only have so many, and we only have so much space. So we do have scheduling where we work with Dundee, Marengo, Genoa, and we have away games and home games. So we try to make sure that they're alternating so that way we can actually get all the people that are there on the site instead of having all 6 fields, and they can't do it anyway with some of the overlap. Like we have to double stripe fields to keep them at least in decent size, not regulation.
So if these start spilling over because you have so many kids that are trying to use the parks and there's not enough parking even with the 38, are the fields going to be far enough back where people can start to park on the grass there? Because if you're taking your kid there and you look at this map, there's no other place to take them except to park on Harmony there. So Kelly, sorry.
They can't park on Kelly
There's a
Road.
ditch there. That would block traffic. There's no reason that people would park on Kelly.
So where would they go then? If there's no more room in the parking lot and their kid has to practice.
So practicing for that age, most people drop off.
Okay.
They do not stay.
Okay. But it won't be used for games. It's just going to be used for practices.
At this time, I don't know. At this time, we're looking for space in the fall practices because we have not taken care of all of our pieces yet.
I'm not real comfortable with I just, I think it's being thrown together and I understand, you know, from your perspective and part of the agreement is for you to deed this stuff over and $65,000 in addition. It can't wait. I mean, does that 65,000 have to be spent right away?
No,
or-
no, it actually, it's the actual, the parking lot and the bike path are more than 65,000, but our obligation was minimum 65,000.
Okay,
We came up working with the park district to, you know, to discuss their needs, what they needed, what they wanted, and when they needed it. That's how we came up together, you know,
Okay.
that's what their needed need was. The temporary parking, right? Or the temporary fields for practice. So that's what we did. We came up with that together and that's how it's not for us to, you know, it's our project, right? But we're obligated
Right.
to improve it for their desires and, you know, what their immediate needs are. That's what they express. It's a large, but you need.
okay. So then the additional parking for the handicap would be in addition to
It
the
will.
65,000 that you've already spent.
In the general plan that we approved way back when we revisited, I guess it was approved in 2005, but we revisited it and then
2023 was the last time we
Yes.
voted on this.
Right. Then we had the overall map of the entire area. This was included in that area as part of the plan, right?
Yes,
As
the
part
park
of the
was.
park.
Correct.
So,
And the park district said at that time that they were interested in the flat, dry space for practice fields
Correct.
and that kind of thing.
so this has been in the plan the whole time. This isn't new information.
But it's not-
It was the parking lot.
That's it. The park,
But that seems to be the crux
right.
of this.
Correct.
It's been in the plan since
Since-
2005. Our obligation, the original annexation agreement was to spend $35,000 worth of park improvements. When we renegotiated, or when we did the annexation amendment, we upped that to 65.
It's just, the conversation lack of plan comes from the fact that it's not part of a master plan because it's not something that they've done a master plan on because they don't own the property yet. That's the contention of what I take as what's construed as not part of the plan, because at the end of the day, there is a plan, a temporary usage that helps the park district and the community out by being able to offer stuff that they don't have currently. Will it stay that way? Who knows? But this is a need that they have now. And they're gonna be able to utilize it, instead of like what's happened in the past where people get deeded property or whatever and they just sit on it. I'm looking at you, no.
No, that's what happened. We deed the property and that's, you know, we would spend the 65,000
Right,
when they needed it or when, how they
Right.
needed it.
But if they didn't
no
have-
access to it.
yeah, but if they didn't have a use for it and they didn't do anything with it, you'd get kind of upset, I guess.
Yeah, we'd like our parks to be used. And I'm pretty excited about the park district taking control of it. They can program it and maintain it much better than we can. But
Because you know, the park that we had for years, Henpeck, just because it was an empty piece of grass for years.
Talk about a non-ADA compliant park.
Yeah.
That's the most non-ADA compliant park in Illinois.
Yeah. Yep.
I have a question. When you
Yeah.
mentioned the U14, U12 fields and we have this printed off, could you show me how you would lay them out so I can better? So this is.
What?
I know.
It depends. I mean, I guess I would see if they fit closer. You know, here and on this way, we would want them keep them closest to the access point.
Okay.
Honestly, when we built Ream, the number one thing we heard from the residents was that they were excited about having the walking path. Not the parking lot, but the walking path, because then they could sit on that for the access. So honestly, the path was something that, when we did that one, was more important to people because they could get closer to their games.
Okay.
that path does connect to the school, to all of the neighborhoods, through all of Curry Ridge and to the village.
And how wide is that path?
It's 8 feet.
10 feet or
10
more.
feet wide.
I believe.
I love the past, by the way.
Does someone have any other questions for Mr. Olson or Ms. Schroff? You guys prepared to roll? I'll entertain a motion approving a text amendment to chapter 2, article of the municipal Right now, okay, sorry. An ordinance approving a variance for the outlot on 23, outlot 23 of Kelly Road. Apologize.
So
Second.
Questions, comments, and or concerns?
can I get clarification on the meaning of an aye vote and a nay and a no vote?
Sure.
Yeah, happy to do it.
What's the other one?
If you vote aye in the affirmative, that would vote in favor of granting the variance. If you vote nay or negative, that would vote against the granting of the ordinance.
So
Got a variance.
I guess
Variance of variance, yeah. the
I
ordinance
guess what
variance.
means the parking lot stays but doesn't.
Correct.
A no vote means the
Yeah.
parking lot stays,
But it needs to get paid.
but it needs to get paid. So either way, either vote, the parking lot stays.
Well, that's up to the park district because they might choose just to abandon it.
They could abandon it, yeah. All this is, this ordinance before us would grant a variance. That variance is the gravel parking lot, and I think Mr. Olson said that he would be happy to, I think he said paved 4 spots?
Sure.
Excellent.
He said to be in compliance.
Whatever's
Yeah.
required for
Yeah.
it.
How long, just as a curiosity, how long could this be here? I mean, are we talking 2 years?
The
3
recommendation
years?
was, I'm sorry, Christine.
No,
The recommendation was 3 years, a sunset in 3 years. And that was the recommendation.
They have to do something in that park space, whether it be paved, that gravel lot exists for 3 years.
and that's it, but it's already been built. So does that time limit start when?
Hold on, this was the last one. The recommendation of to the zoning board was for a 3-year sunset, but they denied it. So that recommendation is not out there. You can put a condition on there that had a 3-year sunset if you wanted to.
Well, there's a motion on the floor, so if this board during this discussion wants there to be a sunset clause, we're gonna have to retract the motion. You're
Or you can
gonna,
make a friendly amendment. You can make a friendly amendment.
oh, the friendly amendments.
And then all you'd have to do is
I remember
find
that.
out if anyone objects to the friendly amendment.
So I made the motion.
And Madam Clerk will work you through the minutes and how the procedure.
So,
Could you look like a little simple?
so if then I can, and I'm not sure what the amendment should be then, you know, I just don't want something that's gonna sit there for, 5, 8 years and nothing gets done with it. Granting it for a short period of time it was a short period of time, and if it gets out of hand, then the police department gets out there and deals with parking issues and angry parents. But for the time being, then, if, I would move then that there be a 3-year sunset on it, that the parking lot has to be either paved or moved in 3 years. From the date of
Well,
approval.
there's a request for a friendly amendment. And I think, and I don't know where I got this information, but I think the park was thinking 4 years that it would be done or sometime before then.
Or less, and that's only because we're building a park right now. I just applied for another grant to build, to redo Schmidt Park. So if we get that grant, then I have another 2-year project there that then this would be the next one. So I'm saying 4 to give me another extra year.
Interesting that it could change or not change your amendment. Your amendment is what your amendment is. But I think it would be remiss of me to not have that information to share with you that the park was looking at. I know it, so I figured I'd really make sure you do.
I appreciate that. I don't want it sitting there for 4 years without a plan. So my amendment remains then for 3 years for it to sunset. And either be repaved or removed.
And does anyone have any objections to that friendly amendment to the motion, especially the makers?
What differences when you're making, that's.
I just don't want it sitting there for long periods of time, especially if it's a problem in the neighborhood for the people there. So if the park district knows that's a limitation that's sitting there, that they have 3 years to deal with this, then that's 3 years. So
My only concern would be is if they have actively advocated on the fact that they're going to be starting another project with grant funds, and then they're going to try to obtain grant funds. And they're getting the grants from the state of Illinois, and when did we get the Safe Routes to School grant that we still don't have funded?
A year ago, 18 months ago.
That was supposed to be done by now?
And we'll hopefully break ground next May.
I'm just saying that, that's their primary method of funding. I'm not trying to chip away at you or anything like that, but you know, they're trying to do what we're trying to do, which is move everything forward with as little amount of money, just like the gentleman that said this, you know, during public comment was they try to do everything where it's not on the backs of the residents. And so if we say 3 years and then they're 1 year away and then they got to rip it up or pave it for 1 year because of a decision we made, or for that matter, they're coming back to us asking for 1 more year at that time. I don't know what benefit that is.
All right, there's no second to my motion, just my amendment just yet. So, how about if I do a motion to amend with a sunset clause then of 4 years with a, monitoring by, I'm not sure how to put this in there. I'd like the village to be able to monitor if it's a problem.
Oh.
And I want to have that.
Yeah.
ability.
It will. I mean, it will inherently do that. It's part of our police power.
100%.
It's in the minutes now. Trustee.
So we have the ability then, if it is a problem and if people are parking all over and the neighbors are upset about the way that that park is going, then we can step in.
We have an intergovernmental agreement that allows us to do stuff with police. We just approved it not too long ago where our police go into the park to monitor that.
We've been able to work out problems like that with the park district without any problems. I think we can manage that. If it becomes a problem, we'll work with Laura and their staff to come up with solutions.
So your amendment is for 4.
For 4 years for it to sunset.
So we have, I need
It's not.
With a clear intent of me to
Are
have.
there any objections?
Exactly. You can either do by unanimous consent or vote on it. My suggestion, I think manager's suggestion would be by unanimous consent. Does anyone accept that friendly amendment?
I'll accept that. Yeah. Do I need to?
It's not acceptance that means that you'll vote that way. It means acceptance for parliamentary procedure.
Adding the amendment to the motion.
Just approval with a 4-year sunset with the understanding that's reflected in the minutes that will be monitored by the village as part of the village's police power, and the acknowledgement that there is an intergovernmental agreement with the park district, which the park district acknowledges as well.
Any other questions or comments or discussion? Ms. Clerk? Oh,
Is it unanimous then?
yeah.
Okay. Trustee Ford.
Question,
Yes,
who maintains the liability insurance on this?
Park district. Park district.
Okay.
Once they
Even
own,
though,
once they own it. Right now, it would be Crown.
the fee simple title holder will be liable for the property, not the village. So Crown has it now. It will flip to the park district after, if this gets approved, then the park district will have liability. Insurance.
But they won't have the park yet, though.
Well,
It'll
So
still
they
be,
will still, it'll still be on the rolls of insurance when they do their master list of insurable property interest. When the deed comes in, insurance broker comes in, makes a list of the new properties, and
okay.
it goes on the manifest.
So Crown's not gonna be responsible if somebody gets hurt in parking.
We will not have any activities while we own that property on that property. So that, nothing will
But
happen.
if somebody were to go up there today, it would be Crown's responsibility.
Okay.
Until the property starts.
And agreeing to the friendly amendment does not mean that you're gonna vote aye or no or abstain. It just means that procedurally, you go from there. Otherwise, you could vote it in, but unanimous consent is another way to go. Probably easier.
okay, are we all comfortable? Any other discussion? Ms. Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Mr. Matt?
Aye.
Ms. Palastrellini?
Aye.
Mr. Robinson?
Aye.
Ms. Fodor?
no,
Motion passes.
Thank you.
With that,
Thank you,
Mr. Mayor,
Thank you for working with us.
with that, Mr. Mayor, we would ask for consideration of an ordinance approving a text amendment to Chapter 2, Article 8 of the Municipal Code regulating golf carts. We've had quite spirited discussion about this topic before here at the board. And you have before you an agenda supplement, prepared by Mr. Tan. I'm just going to take a minute and just summarize the 7 points briefly for you. This requires a permit to operate golf carts. It requires vehicle insurance for golf carts. It requires payment of a permit fee of $75. It requires the operator of the golf cart to be at least 16-year-old and have a valid driver's license. It requires the golf carts to have brakes, seat belts, steering wheels, tires, rear view mirror, and reflectors, warning devices, and slow-moving emblem. Prohibits golf carts from being driven in public parks, sidewalks, or private property unless it is the resident who owns the golf cart. And golf carts can only be operated on village streets with a posted speed limit of 35 miles per hour or less. So that's the summary of it. There are a number of things that you could change, you leave the way they are, but you have before you an ordinance that has a should the seller like that.
You did an excellent job, Mr. Manager. We, as the manager said, I don't know why I'm even saying it, but if you want to make changes, you can. But we are comfortable, with the product that we gave you to review and hopefully approve it.
I just wanted to say, I think the board will make a very serious mistake voting yes for this. We got 1,900 new homes coming. You got increased traffic. Our village manager has done a bang up job bringing business to town. And we're gonna worry about 38 people that are bitching because they need golf carts. The police got 2 men per shift. Eventually we'll go to 3. For every one that does this legal and right, there's gonna be 3 or 4 that don't. And I think the board seriously needs to consider this. 10 years ago, I would have been in favor of it. This town has gotten too big and it's still growing. And by allowing golf carts, it is wrong. It's not the right thing to do.
Any other discussion?
What's the maximum speed of a golf cart? Does anybody know?
They're all over the map now.
Are they?
Yeah, how fast they can go physically.
Yeah, if I got it on the floor, how fast can I go?
I have a easy go that came off of a golf course, okay, and mine goes 18 miles per hour. But they make them now, and they're all over Dale Weathers, you know.
Yeah.
And they go anywhere from 30 to 45 miles an hour now.
But they would have to follow posted speed limit,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
So even though they go 40 or 50 miles an hour or whatever, what our roads are 30.
And they would be limited to certain speed limit roads as well in this 35 miles. They couldn't even drive on a road that has a speed limit more than 35 miles per hour.
And right now, we pay a certain fee to Kane County for the use of their 911 service. We're the second highest in the whole county for usage now. Now you're gonna throw some golf carts out there and there's gonna be more 911 calls and the police are gonna have to monitor those on top of their day-to-day stuff. It's something to really consider.
We talked with other police departments, correct?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Like we talked, I mean, like I thought we referenced Genoa, like they.
Yeah, we've talked to Genoa,
Genoa don't have the building that we have going on.
No, I'm just asking what kind of increases they saw.
What do you mean?
Like within.
Actually, the administrator of Genoa told me that they had not written a ticket, not had an accident. That's what she said.
Okay.
And does Genoa have a Harmony Road or Allen Road or any of that?
They were on 72.
Not yet, they don't.
Well, they have.
In 10 years they will, but not yet.
They can't ride on.
Yeah,
They can't write on
I
that.
understand that, but I'm talking about the development,
Yeah.
the building, the excess, the increase in traffic.
So I get, like, for my own edification, right now, the ones that are operating within the village are technically illegal. The ones that are driving around town.
If you're driving on public property, if you're driving in your yard, it's not illegal.
Well, I mean, I've seen a lot of them driving around on
No,
public property, so that's why I'm asking.
Without the ordinance, if I can ask that, without the ordinance, what does the police department do if they see somebody on a golf cart that is on the road? What happens?
Typically we stop and obviously make contact because this is a violation of, I believe it's 1426. There's state statutes that they're not allowed on the roadway.
Okay, so they would be given a ticket already with the state statute.
Potentially.
Okay, so it's violation. By the state code, do they have to be 16 years of age to be on that?
I believe so.
Okay. I mean, it's considered a vehicle. The ones that are on the state, on the roads then at this point, because what surprised me, because, I mean, I've seen golf carts, et cetera, but the requirements, they have to have rear lights, backing lights, they have to have a rear view mirror, they have to have, I mean, all that stuff, and I'm like, the typical golf cart doesn't have that. Somebody gets an old golf cart,
Actually, most golf carts do have those things now.
they do have.
Yeah, the only thing that would be unique here would be seat belts.
Okay. Jumping around on Coon Creek with the little golf cart, it didn't have any of those, and so that's kind of, I don't golf.
I think they may have rented something that wasn't
Okay,
typically used in that.
okay, then that's that, but so then, the regular golf carts that people have at their homes then have all those different things on them already. And for them to be on the road, they would have to have all that.
If they don't, they
It
have
be
to add it.
compliant with state statute, the vehicle code.
Well, no, I think there's some confusion, because as they are right now, they're not allowed on a road, period. In order to comply with our ordinance, if it should be passed, then they would add those things.
But if we don't have an ordinance, the state statute does, I mean.
The state statute prohibits them entirely unless we have an ordinance that permits them, and then we can only permit them to the extent the state permits it under their regulations.
So right now,
We
they're,
opt in.
right now, they're completely illegal.
Okay,
If we pass this, then they have to comply to our rules because we've allowed them.
so they wouldn't have to comply with the state.
Many of which are state statutes.
Ours kind of mirror it.
Yes.
Do all motor vehicle laws apply to a golf cart? So let's say a DUI or
Yes.
driving while
You cannot,
intoxicated.
everyone thinks they can drink, and I'm telling you, because I've dealt with communities, they think they can drink and get on their golf cart and drive back and forth. Absolutely an error. You would get a DUI. I've never heard of one being issued, but it very easily could.
And that DUI would be the same as.
Exact same.
In your car.
You would get your statutory summary suspension. You would get your same prosecution under 601 of the Illinois Vehicle Code.
And same as minors driving a.
Absolutely.
Same thing. Everything that's in the motor vehicle code
Correct.
applies to a golf cart.
And that is expressed in our ordinance as well, and it would be, and that's covered by state statute. So you get behind the wheel of a golf cart, you are availing yourself of the roads of the state, the village, you will follow the Illinois Vehicle Code.
Okay.
So this,
I also
And they-
know that like. You're probably more of an expert. Well, I hope you are more of an expert. But like, when you first become a licensed driver at 16, there's restrictions on who can be in your car. How late you can be out driving your car, or golf cart now, if that, so those would also apply.
I believe it does revert back. to the
Absolutely.
That's revert- Okay,
When in doubt, it reverts back to the IVC, the Illinois Vehicle
Okay.
Code.
okay.
Do golf carts have a license plate? I don't know that.
no,
Not these golf carts, no.
Okay.
Because you asked the question, I'm gonna confuse things even more.
Thank
There
you.
is, you look across the street, they have golf carts in the showroom at James Motors. Those are actually not golf carts, those are slow-moving vehicles. They have all of the things we've talked about. They also have a VIN number and they require a license plate. So those you have to have a license plate because it's a VIN number. So that's not a golf cart. That's not impacted at all by this statute. They can buy one of those right now and drive them all anywhere they want because it has a license plate on it. It's like buying a motorcycle. So that, it looks like a golf cart. It acts like a golf cart, but it's not a golf cart.
These things are gonna be driving on the paths and the parks and everything.
No, they're
Now,
not.
just for the record, they haven't sold one yet because they're very
Huh?
expensive.
Illegal.
It's illegal to be driving right now, and they drive by our house every night.
Well, if they're driving on the paths, they're gonna get
Every
stopped.
single night.
They're not allowed on the paths, right?
They're not allowed anywhere right now.
Well, even if we pass this, they're not allowed on.
Well, they're not those scoots.
Actually,
Like for
Mr. Mayor,
skateboards.
that would be up to the owner of the path. Right now, Prairie Ridge Homeowners Association owns the Prairie Ridge paths. Those are their paths. So the village has no control over those paths. We can't mandate that they allow golf carts on them. So for example, if somebody in Prairie Ridge wants to come downtown, there's only one way to get here without driving on the actual road. And that is to take either the path on Allen Road or the path on Harmony Road. That I've already spoken to the homeowners association. And they're not sure yet whether they want to allow. Their first comment was, we have golf carts and ATVs, which are not permitted under this ordinance. Golf carts and ATVs right now driving all over the cart paths over in Prairie Ridge. There are probably 15 or 20 golf carts in Prairie Ridge. I've never seen one. I have a picture of one that was driving down on Allen Road just last week, clearly on his way downtown. But if they do get, if the Prairie Ridge Homeowners Association allows that, then they'd be allowed to drive on the paths to the corner of Harmony and Allen, cross perpendicular to the street, then get on, come down Terrebrook, and they can come down State Street. That's the only way they could get downtown from Prairie Ridge North. So that's entirely up to the homeowners association, not the village, because it's all private property.
So who's gonna monitor, the permits that they have to buy?
It would be the police department. They'll have to have an inspection at the police department. They'll be issued a permit, and then that after that,
It'll have a sticker.
Yeah, we've already looked at the stickers. They're pretty large letters, they're 4 letters.
And they come and get them here, or at least,
They go to the police department, get an inspection at the police department, and they get a sticker and pay a fee, $75. And I've seen the exact same sticker and everything in another community. I was driving through. Guy was gassing up his ATV, had a sticker on it like that.
These are like non-peelable kind of stickers. It's not like somebody's gonna have a black market.
Yeah, it's kind of like the license plate.
So they're numbered in. Yeah, the bit of chamber's gonna do that.
this is a bad idea. It really is. For a town that's in the top 10 for growing in the state,
How big is Antioch?
it's a bad idea.
15,900.
And they approve that?
There hasn't been one ticket issue. I just,
Just ask.
yeah, no, I mean, we approved it.
Antioch, where's Antioch related?
Like,
That was a preloaded deal.
Oh, I happen to know that we talked about that as not a loaded deal. Mr. Bazzelli offered that he, works in Antioch as well, and they approved it recently, and it hasn't, they've got more people than we've got, and they've got a busier town than we've got.
So if we do nothing then the police can continue just to ticket people that they see on the road with these because they can't be on the road because the vehicle code prohibits it. So if they're on it, they can do that.
So
If they have their golf cart and they're using it to get around their property, to, bring things back and forth or whatever, that's okay. But as soon as they come onto other property or a street, that's when they violate the law.
So to just throw it out there, like, and I Coon Creek, that's to my head. All those golf carts that come down from the festival to the parade can be ticketed. Because that's technically.
Yeah.
You're in violation.
But that's a special event.
no, but still, I mean, the laws still need to be applied.
Great. There's.
What's the other way?
Golf.
So
That's true.
I queried 43 different people in town. One individual reached out. So 44 total interactions. Of those 44 interactions, only 2 said yes. And it would be important to know that one was 6. And the other one was their parents. And that was it. So those are the only 2 individuals who said yes.
I think I saw that 6-year-old driving that golf cart.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. I saw one
Yeah.
golf cart, and it was a young man, a young boy, driving with his dad, downtown, not downtown, but in.
I mean, I asked people that I saw in the parks, I asked my neighbors, I asked random passersby, I asked people at this meeting before it started. So I was trying to get as many different groups of people as I could to see. I asked my kid, and my kid and I always have the opposite opinion. Okay, we're just very different people, and I cannot even say the words that he said, but the general consensus was no. I was shocked. College freshman, and in very strong language, no, he just does not think it's a good idea. And I asked him to elaborate, like, can you give me some reasons to back up your claim? Can't help it. And his concern was, he sees people using them now. They are not using them responsibly. He does not feel that the people that he knows should have permission because they will just keep pushing it farther. And even he recognized that. Okay,
Can I
Yeah.
give my chicken speech?
absolutely.
I was against the chickens,
Mhm,
100%.
mhm.
Everybody, I thought it was gonna cause all kinds of problems. Because I feel like if you want chickens, you should go live on a farm and not have them in your backyard. I've been very, very, very clear about this. I brought it to this board because it wasn't my decision to stop it from getting to this board. And so that's the way I felt. And so, again, this is a similar situation. I happen to be a little bit more in the, I would like a golf cart situation. I also understand that there are people that had the same thoughts about the chickens. Like with me, like I was completely against it, but I wasn't gonna stand in the way because I thought, okay, well, we're gonna give this a shot. So I guess my question would be to staff, could we treat this like a pilot program? Like we did the chickens?
Chickens don't drag.
allowing only 6.
No, I'm not saying that. No,
Yeah.
No, I'm
My
just.
question is to the police department, how many accidents have you
No, I,
gone to where a chicken hits?
So I realize I seem to be,
Or ran a
I
stop
seem to
sign.
be the butt of many jokes around here, but I don't necessarily appreciate it because I'm trying to reach a compromise. And so like trustee Mott was trying to say before he was interrupted, I was interested in trying to find out if we would be willing to try this for a period of time to see if it does in fact create a problem, to your point, trustee Coles. If the police department is spending all of its available time with its men on shift or ladies on shift, dealing with golf cart problems because of a decision that this board has created. And so that's what I was asking, was an attempt to create a compromise and say, are we willing to try it for a year's time and reevaluate it?
That's certainly the prerogative of the board. We can manage that if the board chose to do that.
I think once you open the door, you're not gonna be able to close it. It's a mistake.
Someone's gonna buy a golf cart and you just said they're very expensive,
Thank you.
especially
2 to
with all of this.
1 year.
And they invest into it 5,000, let's just say 5,000, and then we pull the ordinance, then they've got this 5,000.
$5,000.
Brand new way, use one for $5,000, but the really nice ones out there now are going for anywhere from $8,000 to $20,000.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's go on the low side, 5,000 you
You can buy
invested.
one at Walmart, right up the front, no, seriously.
I did see that.
Front of Walmart for about $6,000.
I don't, I mean, and I voted against the chickens, so I just want to be on that. And I would again.
KFC has.
I don't think
Mix.
a sunsetting of this, I mean, with chickens, I mean, I guess the way some of them said it could have cost them $10,000 to make their coops. So, but other ones were able to do it for a $500 investment. So this is a vehicle. You've got insurance on it. I don't know what the average to add insurance to your auto. I should be auto for that.
$20 or $30 a year.
That's it.
Yeah. It's general liability
Okay.
insurance.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so, I just, I'm nervous about the safety.
Well,
I agree.
I understand that. My argument is that we have a lot of people in this community that already think that they can. So regardless of this, how this ordinance vote goes, we need to decide and give direction to the police department how we want golf carts to be treated within this community. And that decision needs to happen tonight.
Thinking of.
So, because right now, it's a kind of a mix of, well, we know what's going on, we're not really ticketing, we talked to them, no offense, I'm not throwing the police department under the bus. We tried to be good neighbors and, hey, can't be riding these things out, okay, put it away, don't let us catch you again, right? We're not
I don't
actually.
know that that's happened or not. Have you ever stopped a golf cart?
I have, but it's been very sporadic.
I will say if you're, if you have enough money to buy a golf cart, you must be smart enough to have a decent job. And you know better, you should be on the road.
Well, my
Right.
point being is there's a lot of people that would partake in this that already have invested in the equipment.
Like the four-wheelers that are in the retention
Oh, wow.
area that are continuously going through with their speed bikes and their four-wheelers. And we can't seem to catch them, and that's against the law as well. They have the 12-year-olds.
Rinkles, ripped
As well. So we're not gonna put an ordinance for the four-wheelers and the
No,
three, I
absolutely
mean,
not.
but it's going on. So.
I think the police are doing the best they can. to
Oh, I know that, believe me. It's, I understand that, and it's just, now you're gonna add this to it.
Absolutely.
I just, I don't know, if I just, and I have this thinking, I mean, I know we've already said you can't back up on, or you cannot park on the diagonal parking on State Street. And people don't follow, they don't care. They were there first.
Well, they will if they get tickets.
It's a parking spot. I'm gonna go around the side then. I'm just gonna park up on the sidewalk. Our police have a lot of other things to do than to be coming down here on State Street.
And that's why I suggested we try it, because there's an awful lot of conjecture going on here. There could be a whole lot of nothing. And I'm the poster child for that with the chickens, because I thought there was gonna be a lot of angry resident complaints with smells and wolves and this and that, and coops falling down and chickens making noise, and we have heard nothing.
This is a big safety issue. For every one that follows the rules, there's gonna be 5 that won't, and maybe 10. And do we really want to dump that in the police's lap when we're growing and they're gonna have their hands full anyway? Is it worth it,
I'm
really?
not gonna die on this hill. I'm just saying that I'd like to think that our residents are smart enough not to actively go out and cause trouble if they get registered and all of that kind of stuff.
And I agree with the fact that they know what they're doing right now is wrong and they're doing it, so it doesn't really matter.
We don't really have a hard stance on it now, do we?
Trustee Mott.
I have something I'd like to say on that. This affects every single person in the village and the town. And why aren't we asking all the people, is this what you want? You know, we go out there and we ask them on various things, that we need to do in the community. And this is gonna impact everybody that moves anywhere out of their house, on the streets or anywhere. So I think it would be reasonable to go out there and have the general population tell you what they think.
To try survey on our app.
Right, I know.
And on the water bill, maybe just and open it up for a period of time. I mean, I
Sure,
would,
we're gonna get the same response we did out of the ones that said, hey, call us because we think you might have a lead service line.
Well, but to trustee Mott's point though, then if you don't choose to participate in that survey, then that's on you. If, you know,
That's right.
if
if you don't want to if you got lead in your house and you don't want to participate, then
I
you
know,
drink lead.
I know.
and if it's overwhelmingly no, then that will assist this board in making that decision, because, right now, I'm not quite sure where the whole board would go. I know where two of us are, but I'm not positive on the other ones. So, I mean, is it something that we could get some input from the village residents from and then come back and revisit it? Because
So it's,
we drafted already.
and it's at the end of the season. So why don't we table this and, we'll see if we can come up with some plans for some kind of input.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's already, well, it's supposed to be fall, but it feels like summer, but it's supposed to be fall. So there's not a whole lot of golf carting that's gonna be going on this season anyhow. Why don't we table this for a little while and see? We can, we could reach out to our people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know about a survey. We have really bad luck with surveys. We really do with people response rates and that kind of stuff. We tried to give away coffee cups and gift cards to get them to respond. And so, but that's what I'm saying. So let's figure out a way to do what you're asking.
So like, and to trustee Robinson's comment, put it in the, and Paul Srini as well, put it in the water bill. And if you don't get any response, and then this thing passes, they can't come and say a word.
Thank you, Bob.
Yes, you've asked.
All right.
We do have, before we motion to table, we have a couple business people here, that owners. And I'd just be curious with the restaurant, do people have a desire to take their golf carts to come to your restaurant or to your business?
Quite honestly, I've never heard anyone.
Never heard it.
No.
Okay.
Nobody's ever asked me. I've never seen anybody, come in the back and you're like, we do our golf.
Okay.
I mean, people do come in snowmobiles,
Okay.
you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Which is also legal.
Not it.
It is legal.
But they tip well.
But I mean, honestly, I've not heard any.
Not any yet. Okay. And that would be let's go downtown and
Former
have
trustee Klein.
dinner type of thing. Trustee Clunt? Yeah, former trustee Clunt.
What do you think? Yeah, why not? You're here. We'll put you on the spot.
No.
No.
Wanna know why?
Yes.
That's why.
I live on one of the worst streets in the village. Has no curbs, no sidewalks.
Yeah,
People cut through my street every day.
I drive in your yard when I.
Perfect.
You're on the same golf school you're about to have.
So now you're gonna put golf carts with school buses and cars and dogs and kids.
You're not.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, see, I mean, to that point, I think we need to really look at our infrastructure. Can we actually safely support it? That is a question I would have for staff before we see this again. Second, to trustee Mott's point, I would really like to see some sort of survey, however that happens, that is a little more official than my randomly asking people.
I think we'll table it and bring it back.
Just for the record, I don't think the village has ever surveyed the public on any policy decisions.
Oh, yeah, we have.
The only thing I've ever been involved in is when we asked them what business they play.
Oh, we did. We asked about parking downtown and what we need to do and how we're gonna.
When?
Before your time. I'm just saying
We
it's,
had a few of those surveys.
yeah, we did a bunch of surveys like years ago.
Chickens too.
Yeah, oh yeah, we did do the surveys about the chickens before you came. Oh, yeah,
And we have to rename our snow house.
we did.
So,
Yeah.
And we got.
That was a pretty,
That was not a very scientific survey. I just don't want to be responsible for putting out
No.
a survey that I can't stand behind, that's all.
no, I understand.
I think it's just an action by the board to reach out for public opinion.
Right.
If the public chooses that they don't want to participate, that's not on us.
So the only thing we could do is we could put on the water bill, check this box and mail it in. I'm not sure how you want them to
No,
respond.
I think we could do something in the newsletter with a QR code or something like
Yeah,
that. We'll figure
Yeah.
out some way to do it so it doesn't fall on Fletcher.
Yeah.
How's that for a commitment? We'll figure out some way to
I
do it.
don't mind doing the work, I just don't want to.
No, it's pretty onerous to go through survey responses and stuff
No.
like that. We had,
It's not that, they're not scientific. We don't do government by survey. We don't do it by poll. That's all I'm saying. This is a representative democracy, not a true.
I get it.
We get that. It was a request by someone that contacted me, and I think the same person contacted you to do a referendum.
Yeah, we're not
And
doing that.
that's, we're not doing a referendum, but an advisory question that we put on there, and, you know, and I said that we had never had that since
You're gonna
I've
have
been here, but the fact is, it is an
School.
option. I don't feel it's one that we need, but there are ways of reaching out to people.
Well, I don't think thought was put into the cost to put that on a ballot.
yeah.
Like that is fiscally irresponsible of us
Yeah.
to even entertain that idea. That's throwing money down the.
There are three advisory
So-
questions on our ballot right now.
Yes.
To that point, I'm prepared to vote right now. I'm okay with voting on it now. If you, as a board, choose to table it, I'm okay with that too, but
I'm ready to vote.
yeah.
I,
Interesting, that. Or would you prefer to do that?
I would prefer to have input from the.
I would like to kind of side with trustee Mott on this one. Let's figure out a way to get some of the answers, and we'll table it. We're not gonna benefit from anything.
Did they ask her?
That's just me.
I mean, if you force me into a vote.
I'm not
you're
forcing
gonna
anybody.
Like it,
I'm not
but
forcing anybody into a vote.
I would move to table it to allow staff the opportunity to be able to.
So we have,
I'd also like to hear trustee Kelly's position on this, because he generally has adds to the, so I think a full board vote would be appropriate for this measure. So
we have a motion, we have a motion to table, on the table. Second, questions, comments, discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now on to the third item of the agenda.
At this time, we'd ask your consideration of a resolution waiving bidding requirements and approving the contract with Bizu Sewer or sewer lining in the amount of $25,488. You have in your packet an agenda supplement on page 39 from Ms. Lyons, who is with us tonight, but slightly indisposed and not able to speak. So I will describe you just briefly. This is a sewer line that we televise frequently. It's from State to Jackson, along State from Jackson to Grove. And what we found is a lot of roots infiltrating the, when we jetted it. Now what we did was we had to clean out the roots, the jetting cleans out the roots. And now what we can do is, and that work has already been done. Now we asked Bizu Sewer to give us a quote for lining that. Now we push a liner through that as stated in the agenda supplement. It has a 50-year design life. So this will really extend the life of that sewer main without us having to do any major construction. So this is a significant savings.
And this is a fairly unique, right? There's not many vendors that do this, which is why
Right.
you're asking.
Yes, that's right.
Like many of these public works projects, there's a very specialized service, which is why we're not going out for bidding. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Hedges about the resolution waiving the bidding requirements?
And just one, and it's not the waiving, I'm okay with that. Does this liner prevent all the roots and stuff from coming back
Yes.
into it? Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
Any other questions? Warranty,
warranty, guarantee,
50-year.
50-year warranty on that.
No, it's a design life, 50 years, not a warranty.
Do you get a warranty or?
No, there's no warranty.
So it's been failed in the first year or?
Busy sewer.
It should, but.
They've been in business
Actually, we
for
put the
long.
ground is like that, but they're
Right.
very reliable.
Okay.
I'll entertain a motion approving, or waiving the bidding requirements and approving the contract.
So moved.
Questions, comments, or concerns? Ms. Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Palastrellini?
Aye.
Mr. Robinson?
All right.
Ms. Fodor? Aye. Mr. Coe?
Aye.
Mr. Matt?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Now for everybody's favorite subject, brine tanks.
We would ask for consideration of a resolution waiving bidding requirements and approving a contract with Mark Kresmerig Construction LLC for rehabilitation and brine tanks, of the brine tanks at, at 1013 drinking water treatment plant in the amount of $34,515. You have an agenda supplement also from Ms. Lyons in your packet on page 43. This is a process that has to be done. It's important that this be rehabilitated periodically, and we would ask for a vote.
Again, specialized work, and we've done work with Mark Kremsey, construction for, I think for the same process, matter of fact.
President works at the sewage plant quite a bit.
Yeah. Any questions? I'll entertain a motion, for a resolution waiving the bidding requirements and approving the contract.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments, and or concerns? Ms. Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Robinson?
Aye.
Ms. Fodor? Aye. Mr. Coe?
Aye.
Mr. Matt?
Aye.
Ms. Palastrellini?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. With that, we would ask for consideration of a resolution approving a professional services agreement with Engineering Enterprises, Inc. for well number 12, equipment removal and inspection in the amount of $19,860. This is actually the first expenditure that you'll be making from the master plan that we all worked on for so long. This is to pull that pump that's been down there for 15 years and find out if it can be rehabilitated or not. And then that will eventually be, that's the first step in developing that new water treatment plant at that well. This is the well in Thames Pond.
I'll have nothing more. I won't be able to talk about this anymore because it's been in the ground so long.
That's right.
Any other questions?
My question is, it talks about, let's see. I'll go to page 48 for the services, says that the engineer shall furnish the necessary personnel, the materials, the equipment, and the expertise to make the necessary investigations, analysis, calculations. But it has nothing to do with the building or the actual digging out of it, or that's another company. I understand an engineer doesn't do this, but they're not the ones that are going to be picking the person that does that, or are they?
This is for them to develop an agreement so that they would then select, they would give us I'm sorry, Tim, you're right there. I should let you speak.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's, sorry, I get an echo when I'm talking on this. Yeah, so that's a general, so correct, we would put together the specifications for what needs to be done to get the well, to get the pump and motor out of the well, and the investigations that would be done, and working with the contractor that is selected to determine what might be needed to rehab the well, or rehab the pump, and if it can be rehabbed, if it's suitable as a backup, or if it's suitable to put back in the hole with a certain amount of rehabilitation. So the specific services, our scope of services is down. Attachment B, which starts on page 66 of 85 of the packet, that goes into specifically what we would do. So it does not include any rehabilitation. It includes just pulling the pump and working with the contractor in the village on the investigation, and then providing recommendations for rehabilitation. And then, the rehabilitation, then you will know whether you need a brand new pump and motor, whether this can be rehabbed and used, whether this can be rehabbed and used as a backup for, your current wells.
So this contract is just for then the investigation into how and where and how to pull up the equipment and to review it and look at it, but not then anything from what do we do with it moving forward, correct?
It would give the recommendations to what to do with it moving forward, but
Okay.
it doesn't provide the service, you know. Then you'd have to make another step to make a decision of, you know, choosing one of the recommendations of what to do with it.
And when we choose that next one, that'll be a different contract with DEI for the next step moving forward.
When we
Correct.
get to, you know, yes, when we get to doing the well and the treatment plant, then that would be incorporated into that project.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions about this for Mr. Colson or Mr. Hedges or even Mr. Baselli, who looks like he's riveted? No? I'll entertain a motion approving a resolution, approving professional services agreement with EEI. Anybody? Okay, I have a first and a second. Any other questions? It is involving money, so I will ask for a roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Fodor?
Mr. Coe?
No.
Mr. Mack?
Aye.
Mrs. Palastrellini?
Aye.
Mr. Robinson? Motion passes.
Awesome. Now it's on the staff reports. In the packet, you will have a copy of the streets report and a financial report. As mentioned, Ms. Lyons is indisposed at the moment, so we will direct all financial questions to Lieutenant Neblock.
If Lieutenant Neblock waves off on that, I'm actually able to help you tonight.
She comes to your rescue.
They're what your raises. Okay.
If anybody has any questions about either report, please cite the report you have a question about and direct it to the appropriate staff member.
I just want to commend the streets department, going through all the things that they did with all the festivals, the large group gatherings, et cetera. They did an outstanding job. There was a lot that went done. This is a monthly report. And then in addition, the installation of 24 stop signs in Prairie Ridge, just fantastic. And I'm assuming there haven't been any issues or anything since then, or I assume people blowing through them because they're not used to them, but
Actually, we have big red flags up, so they're pretty obvious.
all right, that's just my commendation to the staff.
It's been fun to read some of the comments online. Why we have to have stop signs now. So it's good. Let's do it.
This is the country.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. We'll move on to my next favorite thing, which is accounts payable personnel in the large amount of $415.47. To be paid on or before September 25th, 2024. Any questions? Trying to do my best Christine Klein impression.
I have a question.
Yes,
This is for the 415.
this is for
This is for the
$415.
Staff, okay, so I see that 2 of these are for some of our police officers, and it was for, remind me of the word.
Notaries.
Notaries.
The notary services, and I'm just clarifying that is because they are becoming notaries?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Tough question. Any other questions? It was a financial question. Great, I did a great job.
Dehumidifiers. Page 6, $14,200.
They were big dehumidifiers.
Big dehumidifier.
Mutual.
Where are those for? I'm assuming that we need a water plant someplace or
I think we use those in the water treatment plants.
Lori?
Yes, that's correct.
water treatment plants. Okay. Page 2.
No, we're backwards.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Champion Paving Corp. for $160,000 for Kelly Road repairs.
It looks beautiful, by the way.
Yeah, and by the way, our own public works people are shouldering that road. If you go up there, probably again tomorrow. We've been up there for about a week now, putting in all the shoulders down, so we didn't have to contract for that.
Okay.
That probably saved us $40,000 or $50,000.
So it just covered the paving for it, and then we're doing the rest of it.
And we did run into some problems paving because we ran into an area where there was not even any foundation under the road, so they had to do some extra work.
Okay,
Which I authorized at the time, but it's not
Okay.
payable.
okay. Legal fees, same page, page 2. Clark Baird Smith.
That's for a personnel issue in one of our departments that you've been briefed on.
Okay, we've got a number of different attorneys that is going on. Okay. All right.
Does anybody have any questions about the regular accounts payable since we've seemed to have gone there?
Sorry,
Which is okay.
we didn't do the 400, sorry.
No, that's okay. I couldn't remember if I called it or not. I got clarification. I did not. So go ahead and ask your other questions and then we'll do two votes at the same time. Not well, one right after. Any questions about the regular accounts payable? I will entertain a motion to approve the accounts payable of personnel in amount of $415.47 to be paid on or before September 25th, 2024. So moved. Cool. I need a second.
Second.
Okay, first, second, questions, comments? For hold your peace, Ms. Clerk, call roll, please.
Mr. Coe?
Aye.
Mr. Matt?
Aye.
Mrs. Palastrellini?
Aye.
Mr. Robinson?
Aye.
Mrs. Fodor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Now for the small amount of $904,511.41 to be paid on or before September 25th, 2024.
Page 14, interstate billing service, 97,000. What's that?
That is
That's for,
a cab and chassis for the street department snowplow truck.
all of us.
Oh, okay, so that's, okay, so it's okay. Thank you.
2025 International snowplow truck.
That we agreed to buy 2 years ago.
Okay,
Which we expect to get pretty soon.
This is half of it. The upfitting will take quite a while as well, I expect.
Maybe by the spring. Any other questions?
Yes, also page 14, Mark Hansel wellness checks.
Sorry, Dave.
Wellness check?
That's for the police department. Wellness. That's, if you remember during the budgeting process, there was an emphasis on spending for the police department for mental health awareness and that kind of thing for the police department.
So this is for our employees, not community members.
Right.
Thank you. That's all.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the payment of $904,511.41.
Second.
Those comments and or concerns? Ms. Hurd, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Matt?
Aye.
Mrs. Palastrellini?
aye.
Mr. Robinson?
Aye.
Mrs. Fodor?
Aye.
Mr. Coe?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
PDC's not here. Darn, we're gonna miss his report.
He heard that.
I don't care. He can give me a hard time about that later, which he will. We don't have any other committee reports listed on this, agenda. Mostly because he's not here for that either, and Trustee Coates is gonna defer to the streets report, I'm guessing.
I can't report because it's not on the agenda.
See, even better. Even better. Any, I have new business, but does anybody else have any new business? Okay, so I have encountered a problem this week that I need the board to help me on. So last meeting, we talked about the holiday parade and Santa's availability for December 7th. I was told this week that I will not be here on December 7th. I'm actually for the first time having to travel a great distance for work. So, my question to the board is the board willing to take this on without me here to run the parade? If so, who's going to take lead on it? I will do everything I can do to help with the registration and get the word out there and that kind of stuff. I just will not be physically present for the parade, it sounds like.
Santa's throwing candy.
Santa can do what Santa needs to do, but the mayor's not going to be here to stop him this year. So,
And I can only try.
and so this is something the board has done for a long time, board and elected officials, and I really do enjoy doing it, but there's a strong possibility that I will not be present this year based on a work commitment. So I need help with the parade this year. So
Were you asking for a?
That's either that or we move the
Or we
weekend.
move the week for that event?
Well, I just need somebody to run the parade or we move the entire event.
What do you mean run the parade? What does that entail?
So I like, what is it that you actually do here? So what I do here is, so what I do is, I am the guy that lines everybody up. I give everybody their spots. I coordinate where everybody goes. The clerk handles the cookies and coffee and everything here downtown with the help of Mr. Hedges. Hot chocolate, sorry. So they manage the downtown thing and I keep the parade in line until everybody says that they're ready. Then they holler at me and then I kick everybody off, make sure they get off the parade route. And then I'm usually the last car because I'm making sure everybody, like, cars don't die. We got to jumpstart cars. You know, lights don't work and that kind of thing because, you know, again, cars die or fuses blow and that kind of stuff. And so it's a lot of, it's,
I need a parade chairman.
I need, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's derelict in his duties apparently this year.
Voted around.
Joe.
I mean, I think it's important to have a mayor at this parade. I mean, not so much for the work that it's.
Sounds like someone that doesn't want to volunteer to be a chairman.
Also, it's like,
Coon Creek would be really good because they run a great place.
We're trying to get Coon Creek to take over the parade part of it, so I can actually see the tree light for once, because I've never seen the tree
don't
light.
you like the, I mean.
No, I've never seen the tree light.
Santa does when he goes by.
Every time, I've seen the tree off, and then I come by and the tree's already on. I've never seen that magical moment that everybody tells me about where the tree comes.
November 14th.
Well, you know what, I say go backwards, because the fact is.
We can't,
The 23rd
20, of what?
of November. It's the week before Thanksgiving. It's 5 days before Thanksgiving.
Santa before Thanksgiving.
They do the lighted parades down town.
And I've also.
We're doing mistletoe market on the parade. Mistletoe market, like November 2nd. I mean, I'm not even.
Mayor Klein.
Mayor Pro Tem over there for the.
So that's my conundrum. We don't have to make a decision today, I guess. I can't be here on the 7th. So either we move the event or somebody else manages the parade. That's the long and short of it.
Are you gonna be here on the 6th?
You can do it.
No, I'm going to be leaving town. I'm going to be leaving town then probably Thursday night. I'm going down to the John Deere Arts Expo.
Oh.
Riveting.
There are ribbons.
Riveting.
A Sunday then, like the first
Well, I mean,
December. I mean, there's no reason it has to be on a Saturday, so I'm throwing out options.
I'm okay with moving it to if that's what we have to do, but I was really hoping that
First thing gonna happen.
Santa's booked.
Santa's-
Sunday.
Yeah.
That's what it's on.
He's checking those lists.
Don't call it football.
Definitely not to schedule candy throwing on a Sunday night. Please.
So we don't can't get
We're doing it. Yeah, it's in the dark. You shouldn't be throwing candy.
Have a restaurant.
So that's my conundrum. So if I'm okay with moving it. Let's talk about it. Are you guys okay with moving it? Let's talk about it. I would prefer that it be on the 7th, but we'll make it work. Sounds like if I don't do it, it's not gonna happen. This is okay.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure we can get somebody to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's nobody here. There's people.
Still got nobody
We're
here.
still in open session, right? I think I'd like to make a motion to, get Kelly to do it. Second. We got a second here?
Fair enough.
Call the roll.
Call the roll.
Be volunteer.
Yeah.
All right.
I will have to look at my.
In absentee.
I can't give you an answer right now.
That's
I don't know
I think
what's
you can take
happening
a
on
non-binding vote on that.
October 7th.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's, give us some discretion then. So either the date will move or we'll find somebody to do it, but just give us some time to figure it out.
We can vote on it.
We made a motion. We did make.
All right.
I was kidding about Mr. Kelly.
There's a motion on the
Oh,
floor.
and he had a better answer.
I think, doesn't necessarily have to be a trustee that does it. I know Mike is speaking on, but if, maybe we can make a couple recommendations of a couple other people as an option. If the 30th or whatever other date that I mentioned, the 23rd, Because for some reason, we weren't doing it Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, no,
Why?
we could, is a tree gonna last that long if we do it a month in advance?
But it'll look like Charlie Brown's. Yeah, the branches will be on there.
All right, let's let's think about it. We'll come back, we'll have a better answer next week or 2 weeks from now. All right, that's all I have for new business. Anybody else? No executive session, no other announcements, motion to adjourn. Questions, comments, and or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much, everyone. You all, hope you enjoyed your show.